Welcome back to the John Fredericks Radio Show. That was the theme from PBS's Civil War documentary, and on with us on the line now is Chairman of the Prince William County Board of Supervisors, where the great battlefield is, Battle of Manassas. Cory, welcome to the show. You're on with Colonel Mike and Tom deSabla.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you doing this morning?
Great, Cory. We're glad that you had time to call in. Lots of news. You're also the campaign chairman for the Trump campaign, and there's lots of people that want to know from you and John Fredericks what is going on. Yesterday's USA Today front page, young voters flee Trump in droves. Millennials, prefer Clinton by historic, but you know everything's historic with Clinton, 56-20. I don't believe anything I read in the news. Tell us what's happening, what's new, what's going to be the final stretch, the 90 days.
Well, look, every poll that is taken in August or before is completely useless. The polls at this point are notoriously inaccurate predictors of what's going to happen in November. The number to focus in on is this one, and that is you poll Americans and ask them whether they like the current direction of the country, whether they believe America's headed in the right direction, and 76% of them say no, which means they're not going to vote for the incumbent administration, and by extension, they're not going to vote for the party who's currently holds the White House, and that's the Democratic Party. They're not going to vote. Voters will see the voting for Hillary Clinton as a third term of Barack Obama. So the other thing is, look at the poll numbers for Trump overall over the last couple of months. Every time, he says something maybe a little bit controversial or politically correct, his poll numbers go down. But they always return, and that is because as the time goes on after Trump has made some controversial remark, people they go back and they remember that there are serious issues that they're going to be facing when they vote, the direction of the economy, the direction of the military, etc., and national security concerns, and those are what they're going to vote on, not whether or not Trump, made some statement that they disagree with.
Cory, the sentiment right now with Donald Trump, he's not the politician. He's not the run-of-the-mill guy. He doesn't need any corruption. There's so much corruption going on within this administration as others in the past. Just today, front page Washington Post, I just brought it up for your attention because you were one of the first fighters out there with illegal immigration in Prince William County. You were known nationwide for your fight. And it says in the business section of Washington Post, inside the administration's $1 billion deal to detain Central American asylum seekers, and this is out of Texas. I mean, if this was Halliburton and Bush and Cheney, this would be a 24/7. But this deal is a 4-year, billion-dollar contract on detaining Central Americans, which Cory, they're going to try to make them get green cards or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Democratic Party, and actually, I got to say, a lot of establishment Republicans, too. The Bush administration it wasn't much better, honestly, than the Obama administration when it came to illegal immigration. But it's happening. The Obama administration likes to say, as did the Bush administration before it, that they were deporting criminal illegal aliens. Not true. We have, in the United States, according to ICE's own statistics, 11.5 illegal immigrants in the United States, 2.1 million of whom, or roughly 1 in 5, are criminals. I mean, outright criminals, people who are not just here illegally, but committing crimes while they're here. And only a very, very small fraction of those, we know this from our experience in Prince William County, are being actually deported by the federal government once they're apprehended. Most of them are told to come back for a deportation hearing years hence. And one thing that's just been reported over the last couple of weeks is that the deportation hearings, the earliest ones that they're giving illegal immigrants, are 2022.
Can you imagine?
So,
can you imagine that?
Think about that. That's 6 years from now.
Yeah. Can you imagine that if you were an American and you had to go back to a court, and let's say the circuit court in Prince William County, on some charge, you know you'd get into court within a month. You know what I mean? How is it that these people could come back in 6 years and they have no rights, but they have much more rights than the average American?
Right, and so the Obama administration, as with the Clinton administration, knows that if a person commits a crime and they're ordered to deport, but their deportation hearing isn't for 6 years, what's going to happen when if that person comes back for his deportation hearing, which probably won't, but if he were to come back, the court would say, well, look, the guy's been in the country so long, he's got a family, blah, blah, blah. Right. They're not going to deport him.
What do you think about the latest news that Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party are now using illegal immigrants to do voter registration? I mean, this is nonsense. This is insane.
You know what this is, Steve? This is a result of they're so emboldened by our silence, by Republicans and average Americans being afraid to stand up against illegal immigration because we're afraid of being labeled as bigots and racists.
We're not.
And all that
we're
other
not
stuff.
Racist.
So we have to stand up.
No, we're not. What they do is Cory, it's very simple. It's the rules for radicals. If we just take the rules for radicals, copy number 8 and 12, that's all they're using. But the Republicans have no spine. They don't want to fight back. You got the Mitch McConnells now going out there saying, well, there's a possibility we could lose the Senate. No, we're not losing the Senate. We're going to lose the rhinos, and we're going to lose the people who were never real conservatives anyway. Am I right or wrong? If they lose, it's because they went on the other side to begin with. You got to ride Trump's coattail now. This is a populist movement. This is the people, the blue-collar people are saying, we don't want any more professional politicians, lifetime politicians, Dianne Feinsteins, Barbara Boxers, Nancy Pelosi's, Harry Reid's, Mitch McConnell's, and Paul Ryan's. Is that right or wrong, Cory?
You're totally right on. I mean, the established look. There's a lot of people. When I travel around the state, I'm traveling today. I've been traveling every day. For the last several weeks. There are some conservatives out there who say, "Look, I don't like this or that about Trump." And what they're really saying is they don't like the populism element of Trump. They do like the fact that he's very conservative on a lot of their issues, but they don't like the populist element. But you got to remember that if it weren't for the populist element, he wouldn't have won the nomination.
Exactly.
And it's going to take a Republican politician who's more populist to win in November, because Trump has effectively won over so many blue-collar workers in particular, and not just Caucasians, but blue-collar workers up in New York, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Ohio, states which we've got to start taking back. We've got to become a more populist party. We got to start winning more elections.
Cory, you're a conservative. Cory, you're a conservative. How much of a minority vote did you win by when you won your last election?
Well, the county, and I represent all of Prince William County. That's 450,000 people. It's a 55% minority county. It's 55% minorities. I do very well among African Americans in particular, and with Asians. And so what I do is I just show up. I mean, on a regular basis, not just on the election year, but I go to the minority churches and that in neighborhoods, etc. Because it's not you don't have to change your conservative views to get minority voters. You just have to show up. You have to show them that you're interested, that you're concerned about them, that you're going to represent them when you're elected, and it's really that simple.
And how many times have you been elected chairman?
4 times.
Amazing.
So I just got
4 times in how many
2015.
years? Amazing. How many years?
I've been there 10 years.
So you understand that all roads have to go through Virginia. You understand we have a senator, deadbeat senator that was a governor, who's now on the ticket with Clinton, who's going to probably get a good portion of Northern Virginia. However, with the latest news coming out of the Virginia Free Citizen, and on the website, the Virginia Free Citizen, Jeff's website, Radford, Virginia, South Side, which is important, blue-collar people that have really been decimated, they're trying to, assimilate new immigrants, Somalis, Lebanese, Syrians, groups from the third world and the Muslim world, And nobody was aware of it. They were trying to run this down the throats, and thank God Jim had the piece out there, and the people came out ahead of time. I mean, Tim Kaine wants 86,000 Syrian refugees. Cory, that's insane.
Well, this is the whole, what's really sickening is that voters and U.S. citizens let these creeps get away with it. They let them, act in a way and govern in a way that is in a way that is not good for America or Americans. Look, they say, well, we got to take care of all these people coming in from other parts of the world. Well, wait a minute. We have, millions of Americans who are suffering, who don't have jobs, but they want jobs, million, people that don't have adequate health care, et cetera. Shouldn't we take care of ourselves first and our fellow citizens?
Apparently not. Not with the Democratic Party. Basically, they know this is the last hurrah. They have to sign up as many illegals as they can. They're like leeches. They live off illegals. I mean, they can't, even when they do a convention, they don't even have a flag there. When they're talking about politics, they talk about speaking Spanish. They talk about the illegals. They don't talk to the American people, Cory.
No, they don't. I mean, the Democratic Party has moved so far off the left that to the left that it bears no resemblance to the Democratic Party of our parents. This is a party that it's not even pro-American, and hopefully Americans will wake up by November 8th and look at the fact that the Democratic Party is not in their interests. I mean, look what the Democrats did in Southwest. For years and decades, generations, the people of Southwest, coal miners in particular, were loyal to the Democratic Party. And then, just like that, the Democrats turn their backs on them, betray them, and essentially shut down the coal industry, which has had an impact not just in Southwest Virginia, but really across the entire state.
You have Virginia, Kentucky, and West Virginia, Cory. 3 states.
And Ohio. There's coal mining all actually in even more states than that, in Pennsylvania as well.
It's just, I don't understand it. But let me ask you a question. Can you tell us anything? I don't know if you're allowed to release the information. Can you tell us what's the plans from the Trump campaign? Are you and John going to step up what we have to do in Virginia to win Virginia for Donald Trump? I mean, New York is running the show, obviously, but what's the game plan? We got to move. We got to step up. We got less than 100 days now.
Well, yeah, and that is happening right now. And I'll keep in mind, neither John nor I, we don't control things on a day-to-day basis. We're the face of the campaign. We're the representatives of the campaign. But what I can tell you is that we are just in the last couple of weeks are seeing massive investment by the Trump campaign in Virginia. Trump has been here 3 times in the last 2.5 weeks. He's about to come here again. That'll be 4 times in 3 weeks. We will, Pence has been here a couple of times, and just recently down in Radford, et cetera.
I liked Mike Pence, by the way, Cory.
He's great. So the most valuable thing that a campaign has to offer is a candidate's time, and that's what you're getting. We are seeing a massive investment, a real surge in spending in Virginia by the Trump campaign, including the hiring of a lot more hired personnel. So you're going to see it really ramp up here in the next
Cory Stewart, are they going to be in Loudoun County? Are they coming to Loudoun County to his plush place there? What's it called, Lansdowne or Trump Village?
Well, Trump National, I think that you're going to see Trump in a lot more in Hampton Roads. I'm certainly pushing him to go down to the Hampton Roads area more. Hampton Roads is going to swing this election, and it's going to be so critical that if you're a Republican and you're Hampton Roads, contact your local, Team Virginia and get involved. We need your help knocking doors, shaking hands.
How about Richmond, Cory? How about Richmond?
Make your phone calls.
How about
Richmond?
I'm sorry,
say that again.
Richmond. How about Richmond?
Well, Richmond is really the tale of 2 cities. You've got Richmond, the city, which of course is pretty strongly Democratic, but the suburbs of Richmond are generally very good for us. Will more than likely vote for Trump, But the real swing region, if you're looking for the region that's going to swing the most, is going to be the entire Hampton Roads region. It's going to determine whether or not we win or lose.
That's the concentration. Well, that's John Fredericks' backyard. I mean, the show's out of Hampton Roads, and John has a lot of friends down here, and I'm sure the military has to take a second look. Don't you believe so, Cory?
You know, we have 800,000 veterans in Virginia. Now think about that. We have a population of 8.3 million. That's 1 out of every 10 people that who's a veteran. Veterans and active duty military, to the extent that they're registered in Virginia, are going to play a very, very critical role. It is the ace up the sleeve. Why? Because people are concerned about the decline in the U.S. military. They're concerned that our military is being spread too thin, that we're getting involved in conflicts which are really don't directly involve U.S. national security interests. And finally, people are concerned about the VA. It's a mess. And it's really shameful that we got our veterans waiting for months and months, if not longer, for medically necessary procedures and medical care. These are our best citizens, and they're being forced to wait.
That takes us back to the beginning of the conversation. How do we have money to support illegal immigration, to support Syrian refugees, which Tim Kaine wants 86,000 more in Virginia, Terry McAuliffe himself also, and yet we're going to cut back on the people who went out there to give us our freedom? Cory Stewart, I want to thank you for your time. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network.